सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। So we saw yesterday a beautiful example taken by the scriptures. It was the example of Ratha and the Sarathi. Atmanam tu Rathinam Vidhi. Understand that the enlivening principle, the conscious principle, as the owner for whom the chariot is prepared and there is a drive. And who is the charioteer, driver? It is the buddhi. The chariot itself is compared to the physical body. Now they are taking it. So what is the purpose of this example? So that is given in the 5th mantra. So please repeat after me. It should be on page 139. Yastva vijnanavan bhavati. Yastva vijnanavan bhavati. Ayuktena manasa sada. तस्येन्द्रियाण्यवश्यानि दुष्टाश्वा इव सारथेः So this example is now given the proper contextual reference. Yah tu avijnanavan bhavati ayuktena manasa sada tasya indriyani avashyani dushta ashvaha iva sarathehe. Yah tu, the one whose avijnanavan bhavati, the one who does not have the proper understanding, proper thinking. Ayuktena manasa sada. And is it that he just doesn't understand things? He says no, his mind is also unrestrained. Unrestrained, it doesn't have a proper discipline. Indriyani avashyani, and there is no control over the indriyas, organs of perception and action. So, there are three different layers. What are the three different layers? Now, for example, we go back to the horse. The horses are unbroken horses, untamed horses. They are yoked to the chariot. Even those horses which are properly trained, if they are not treated well, they will show you the magic. But imagine if the horses themselves are untamed. Whoever has yoked those horses must have had from all directions, he must have been kicked thoroughly. But somehow in that confusion he yoked them, tied them to the chariot. And in that utter confusion, how was the rope that it was tied down with? It was a rope which did not have enough strength in it. And then how is the charioteer? Charioteer has his own agenda. Will that chariot ever reach the destination? It's utterly a confused state of existence. Similarly, here the example given is the organs of perception action are unrestrained. There is no control over the organs of perception and action. That itself is taking us in 10 different directions. Yesterday we saw the example of Paramananda and his 10 students. Each one trying to carry the luggage, do lot of seva, but each one trying to pull it in one different direction. Effectively, will there be any improvement or change? The only change that we find is there is too much of fatigue, too much of the teared feeling from inside, because all organs of perception and action are taking in different directions. Then how is the mind? Mind is ridden with its own super sensitive likes and dislikes. The reason I use that specific word, super sensitive, the mind has to be sensible, but instead we carry our minds as very sensitive. Anything can hurt us, anybody can hurt us, any time, any space can hurt us. And who gives the permission for all these different various conditionings to hurt or create any kind of disturbance? The mind itself gives that vulnerability, that key for them to say, have this access and please disturb me, invite the trouble, because it carries that sensitivity and carries the likes and dislikes. And how is the intellect? Intellect, poor fellow, is malnourished. Malnourished, it does not have proper feed. What is the feed that the intellect should have to have the right understanding? See, when we were young, we were taught various things. Early morning it was the memorizing period, by heart period. So, various things were taught to us. Sometimes it was the different nations and their capitals, sometimes it was the mathematical tables, sometimes various things were taught. And because of what was taught then, thank goodness we do not require the calculators. 12 times 5, no need to calculate. It becomes so embedded in the system that it comes out automatically. If the information given to the intellect was wrong, because of which the intellect has lots of preconceived notions that it has created. So, whenever that kind of a undernourished intellect goes out into the world with lot of preconceived notions, and however its aid, the mind has super sensitivity and the organs of perception action are clumsy and in their own directions. Will that person be able to achieve anything? Even if one of them is not in proper shape, our life can be miserable. But what is our condition? Every single layer that is mentioned here has a rupture and friction with the other layers. The intellect is trying to decide and say this is what should be done. Now, what does the mind do? The mind looks at the intellect. Like a best thing would be the example. Everybody has a deep desire, tamanna. What is a deep desire? Early morning I have to wake up, do exercise and meditation. Who decided? I decided. Who decided the time? I decided. Who specifically appointed a certain particular time and the alarm to ring at that particular time? I decided. I meaning the intellect has made these decisions. I should change my life, I should dedicate at least half an hour to 45 minutes regularly for exercise and another half an hour to 45 minutes for my puja and japa. So, I have to wake up early in the morning. So, the intellect decides. So, you wanted to wake up early in the morning by say 6 o'clock. I am not talking about 4:30 or 5 o'clock because Swamiji, let us be practical. So, okay, 6 o'clock we want to wake up. The intellect has made a decision. Now, while the intellect is making that decision, the mind is looking at the intellect. It is all internal tamasha happening. So, the decide, fine, 6 o'clock, let us see. So, at 6 o'clock the alarm goes off. These days there are, I have heard, there is an alarm which jumps. It does not stay in the same place, it jumps into different corners of the house or the room, and it keeps making that shrill very high frequency sound, irritating sound. At least to shut it off you have to wake up and find it. Early morning hunt. I was told it was invented in the MIT. So, you put the alarm and then at 6 o'clock the alarm goes off. When the alarm goes off, what does the mind tell the intellect? I refuse to get up. Did you even know that 6 o'clock is such a beautiful time to sleep? And that is the best time, this is what is the convincing power of the mind. It likes that moment. It says, do you know the bed is warm? The quilt is also warm enough. Now is the time that you can really enjoy in that beautiful sleep. And the intellect says, get up. The mind, have you tried this? Wake up anybody. Will they immediately get up and say, yes? No. 2 minutes. I'll wake up in 2 minutes. So, who is giving that response, the 2 minutes? It's a mind, because it likes to continue that state of sleep. It is not just with regards to sleep. Eating, I have taken a vow that I will not eat sweets after this one. On one side, the intellect keeps making the decisions and the mind keeps going exactly opposite to it. And every time there is this self-cancelling behavior pattern, there is a friction created inside. So, the intellect does not have the strength because it is not nourished properly. And the mind has so many of these likes and dislikes. And how are the organs of perception and action? They have their habitual pattern. It is bound by certain habits, and those habits die hard. There are people that suffer early in the morning. Why? They have to have the newspaper. If with their morning tea or coffee they do not have that newspaper, if they do not read that newspaper, they will feel very agitated. It is almost the same kind of news. Stock market is going down. Sports, everybody is trying to not play. The NBA, right? Are they finally playing? Okay. Somebody made a comment. Funny thing, the millionaires are fighting against the billionaires. A big deal. And who is getting affected? The small time, the people who take care of the stadium and who have these different sales and other executives, they are the ones who will get affected. But anyway, this is the sports section. And third page news, somebody dead, somebody killed, somebody, you take any worldwide newspaper, you will not find anything better, but that is a habit, I have to, or else I feel really incomplete if I do not have that morning cup of coffee and the newspaper. And what to tell of people who have habits wherein they have to have a certain kind of milk, certain kind of food, certain kind of thing. And if these things are not there, agitation starts. The intellect knows, it does not matter, you just have to fill your stomach with that food for that time, and it is just like, intellect knows it. The mind has its own likes and dislikes, and the organs of perception and action have their own habits, their own roots. Back in villages, when we used to go to the nearby town, the greatest transport system that we had was a bullock cart. So, if we were to go to the fair, mela, or to watch a movie, and movie theaters were fun. You pay, I remember in those days it was 1 rupee and 25 paise or something like that. So, the entire kids section sit in the front row and then watch. And by the time the movie is done, you eat somewhere and then get onto that bullock cart and start coming back. While coming back, the person who is to guide the bullock cart, he need not guide. Why? The organs, I mean the ox is an animal of habit. So, it knows how to take you back home. And most of the times, by the time we would have gone halfway, all of us would have been asleep. But those ox, they take us directly home. Say by mistake you did not pay attention and you were going in one particular direction, halfway through there was a practice to that ox to go to a different direction from there on, and you are not cautious enough to guide it to the newer route. Where will it go? By habit to the other route. That is how the organs are. They are bound by their habits. But instead, how should the system be? That is said in the 6th mantra. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati yuktena manasa sada tasyendriyani vashyani sadashva iva sarathehe. If on a whiteboard I write with a white marker, would you be able to see anything? If on a blackboard I write with charcoal, would you be able to see anything? So, in order to, this is the skill, the teaching skill. First they portray a dark picture of how each one of these untrained, undisciplined, uncontrolled, what would be the condition. Now, in the background of that, when they highlight how it can be well used, then with that contrast it sinks well. I mean, meaning the knowledge goes deep, at least that is the effort. So, here he says, Yastu vijnanavan bhavati, for those whose intellect is well nourished, yuktena manasa sada, and the manas, the mind, how is it? It is yukta, it is controlled. Tasya indriyani vasyani, for such person who has a well nourished intellect and a well controlled mind, the organs of perception action, even if they have had earlier habits, it can be controlled. Tasya indriyani vasyani, the organs can be controlled. How? Sadashva iva sarathehe, like a good charioteer who focuses on every minute aspect of the chariot, maintains the reins well and feeds the horses well, takes care of them. It is not just disciplining, it is also taking care of them. After having used them for a certain period, or they have taken you or taken a certain load, as soon as you get down, feed them water, feed them nutritious, nourishing them. That is the job of the Sarathi. Last time in the Dwadas Jyotirlinga Yatra, when we had gone, Kedarnath. So, exactly at 7-kilometer marker, there is a small village. and their business is to feed people and feed horses. So, it is the right marker, because it is a total 14-kilometer trek, exactly half. So, as soon as the horses, they are unburdened of the extra weight that they are carrying, the one who has to take care of them feeds them with jaggery and the chana and some water, feeds them well, maintains them well. At the same time, if the horses do not obey, he will show the stick. So, where there is a necessity for disciplining or maintaining that kind of control, you maintain, and where there is a necessity to take care of them, you take care. Sadashva iva sarathehe. So, the organs of perception and action can be brought into control, provided the intellect is nourished with clarity and the mind is controlled. What do you mean by control? Meaning that mind which does not sway with its own patterns of likes and dislikes is called a good mind. Gurudev put this very effectively in a very beautiful sentence. He says, what is the heights of freedom? He says, doing not what you feel like is called freedom. And what do we think that, how do we define freedom as? However I feel like doing, whatever I feel like doing, however long I feel like doing that to my heart's content is called freedom. Whether it be our responsibilities, duties, obligations, I do not care. Do I feel like it? We use that in this country, in this language. What do you feel like eating? Today I do not feel like Indian. What happened to you? You still have the same brown skin. No, what I meant, I do not feel like eating Indian. Okay. I feel thigh. Today you feel thigh, tomorrow you feel leg, my foot. See, the likes and dislikes can become assets, provided they do not block us from fulfilling our duties, responsibilities and obligations. Once we own the entire responsibility of our life, once we take that complete responsibility and be responsible for every single act in life, how you end up performing these activities can be further harnessed with our likes and dislikes. But if the same likes and dislikes stop us from fulfilling our responsibilities, then the mind is not under control. But here when we say that the mind is under control, what does it mean? That the likes and dislikes have been transcended. What is of more value? What is of more importance? It is taking that mind in fulfilling my various requirements in my day-to-day life. How do I fulfill it? Depending on my roles, responsibilities, duties and obligations that are defined around me. If the mind does not object to any one of those, participates in it, then how you end up performing them, there your likes and dislikes can help. See, when there is somebody who does something masterfully, how did it come out so beautiful? is because they have taken it first as their responsibility, and in fulfilling their responsibility, they have used their like to enhance it, they have used their dislike to not present it in such a way that anybody else who would be there would also not dislike it. They have used their likes and dislikes, but that likes and dislike did not become their stumbling block. And how is the intellect? It is shining forth with clarity. And this is what every brahmacharin in the Gurukula system was introduced to as a mantra. Om bhur bhuvaswaha tat saviturvarenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yonah prachodayat. Dhiyo yonah prachodayat. May my intellect shine forth with that clarity. We even chant the mantra. Om prachodayat. Om prachodayat. What are you doing? No, I'm now busy. Busy doing what? Marathon. I have been ordered to complete 108 times one whole mala of this mantra. We keep loitering, wasting time on the internet, on the computer, on the chat, on this and that. There we don't feel guilty. When we sit in front of the Lord, close our eyes and try chanting the mantra, and the mantra takes 5 more minutes. It's taking too long. So what do? We compensate. What are you doing? Chanting. Now what does that chanting mean? Like that Surya, like that sun shines the 3 words, Bhur Bhuva Swaha. May my intellect shine the 3 realms of experiences that I constantly am involved with. In order to shine forth with that kind of clarity, may my intellect be nourished with that strength. Dhiyo yonah prachodayat. Once that intellect is so beautifully shining, and I might have said this earlier, the other creatures are called tiryak yonis, other than the human forms. Tiryak meaning those which are horizontal. There is another meaning for tiryak. Why is it called tiryak? Wherein in the horizontal creatures, whether they crawl, whether they fly, whether they walk on their fours, they are all horizontal. From what perspective? The head, the heart, the stomach and the lower organs, they are all in one same line. Same priority for all of them. Whereas in a human being, how are we placed? Head is up. That is a seat of intellect. So the intellect should be above the heart. It should not be clouded with the mind of its own likes and dislikes. It should be up here with that clarity. And when that clarity shines forth, all the denseness of the clouds of likes and dislikes should vanish. Then comes the next priority, papi pet ka sawal. The stomach. Udara nimittam bahukruta veshaha. All that we do is to finally come and fill that stomach. It hurts to see that in this country, they do so much, don't have time to even eat proper meal. How do they eat? They grab food. It's my pet peeve. Let's go grab some food. आतंकवादी है सब, हिंसात्मक. Can you visualize? Grab some food. And then how do you eat it? Munch on while on the dashboard, driving. We do so much and can't have time for just for that food. Anyway, that's a totally different topic. So, first is the head, next is the heart, then comes the stomach, then the other lower organs. That is the priority. And if we behave in a different order, then we are no better than the Tiryaks, the horizontal variety. So, there are some code languages that we share. So, whenever somebody is not behaving properly or not in a proper disciplined manner, we end up telling Tiryak Atiryakva, meaning, are you trying to behave like the Tiryak or Atiryak? Atiryak does not mean human. Atiryak is something lower than that, other than the Tiryak. Because we do not want to be insulting those horizontal creatures, something lower than that too. So, let my mind, let my intellect shine forth with that clarity. How does this clarity come in? The clarity comes in when I learn these various beautiful pointers. When I say I learn them, it is not just memorizing them, but I take these beautiful pointers, go out into the practical world, test them, practically start applying them. Right the day when you start applying them, you would not have perfect synchronization. That which the value is intending to bring forth may not be the result. Don't drop, don't give away. Bring that information back, load it in, to make it a feedback loop. Let the intellect process that again. Where did I go wrong? Where did I go right? Why did it work? Why did it not work? What are the circumstances, times that it might work, it did not work? Analyze it. Go over it thoroughly. Let the knowledge that we hear percolate the intellect and transform into wisdom. Then with that wisdom, when you look at the mind with its likes and dislikes and constantly it is swinging, and that is why it says, where is it? It is the mind which is the seat of all moods. And how is the mind? Constantly swinging. So, how do we feel? I have terrible mood swings. What does it indicate? Terrible mood swings. It indicates that the intellect has been placed under the house arrest, arrested in the clouds, the confusions of the mind, of the moods. So, the intellect has to be nourished well, the mind has to work transcending likes and dislikes, then the organs of perception action will align themselves to fine attunement with the intellect, with the mind and with the organs of perception action in one alignment. That is called a focused attempt, concentrated attempt. There is no dilution because the intellect carries the clarity and the mind is not swinging away in its likes and dislikes. Organs of perception action are acting as directed. letting go of its own habits. That system is called Sadashva iva Sarathehe. So, both conditions have been explained, one with absolute control and balance, the other one without. What happens as a result of not having that balance? That is explained in the 7th mantra. Yastva vijnanavan bhavati amanaskas sada shuchihi na sa tatpadamapnoti samsaram chadhigacchati. Yastva vijnanavan bhavati. We are talking about the same avijnanavan. What happens? Amanaskaha, they become of uncontrolled mind. Because of the uncontrolled mind, because of the layers of likes and dislikes that it is smeared with, whatever it ends up doing, is it righteous? It may want to pretend as being good, because out in the practical world, our goodness gets defined very funnily. We are good for lack of opportunity. The moment opportunity strikes, our true nature comes out. When somebody is not observing, when we know that there is nobody that I am supposed to be answerable to, our true nature comes out. I will give you a practical example. I was in a college to deliver a lecture, and it was a women's college. So, aptly I had chosen the topic beauty tips. All 4,000 of those girls, the entire college, were present in that auditorium, and the principal was saying that we should call you for delivering lectures here, because I have never seen in my own 10 years the entire strength in this auditorium. So, as soon as they saw that beauty tips were spoken by, I was then a brahmachari. They were disappointed. They thought there would be some beautician talking about some beauty tips, and there were some very mischievous girls. They were becoming challenging. Before I could take some right action to gather their attention, the local news media came with their video cameras, and as soon as they came in, they turned the lights on, their focus lights, and they were going around shooting. As soon as the light fell on these girls, you should have seen the immediate Were they like that before? No. But the moment they knew they would be caught on that camera, if we are not aware of the fact that every single act that we do, we are accountable for. Then who is it that we are accountable to? Our own self. For what I do today foolishly, thinking nobody is watching, nobody is trying to judge me. When is the judgment day? When this results into an experience that I have to go through. It is then I start repenting. Why me? Why does this happen to me only? It is because you only did this to yourself only. Nobody else did it. So, we are accountable for it, for our own actions. But the mind, which is totally ridden with its likes and dislikes, what becomes important is fulfilling my desire. Come what may, I need to fulfill my desire. First it is a want, then it becomes, first it is a luxury, then the luxury becomes a want, the want becomes a need, then the need becomes urgency. I need it and I need it now to be fulfilled. And in that hasteful expenditure of resources, what do? We end up doing things that we repent. That is called ashuchihi. Ashuchihi, that which is impure. And what is that ashuchi? Any repentfulness from inside. We have been hearing that somebody who repents is trustworthy. I say Vedanta teaches a totally different standpoint. It says somebody who repents, meaning has a habitual practice of making mistakes, cannot be trusted. Who can be trusted? Somebody who makes every single action accountable and makes sure that there are no such mistakes offered. Now, when there is no scope for mistake, then there is no chance for guilt-ridden heart. Even if there is a mistake, the results don't go as you had planned, they will have the depth in their heart to accept that responsibly and do the needful to achieve the next. They are not the ones who are trying to find a scapegoat. Oh my gosh, I don't know, this has all gone bad. Now, whom do I push the blame on? Sorry. In the cubicle psychology, cubicle psychology is the company strategies. In the thick of a very problematic situation, if a person knows to smile, do you know what that person is up to? That person knows to whom to blame it on. It is not that they have found a solution, therefore there is a smile. I know whom to blame it on, hence therefore my hands are clean. Doesn't this happen in the cubicle circles? Your offices, I mean. And that's why you have to move around with these people with strategy. And what is the strategy? Make sure that you leave some loose ends so that if anything goes wrong, you can blame it on others. What a stupid way of living life. Do it perfectly the first time so that you don't need to blame it on anybody. No, but blaming it on others becomes easy habit. Ashuchihi. So, what happens? This is important. He says, Na satat padam apnoti samsaram chadhigacchati. Such people do not get what they are actually intending to search for. What is it that we are intending to search for? I need a name, I need fame, I need wealth, I need assets, I need luxuries, I need various things. You can list them out. For what? So that I can have 2 points, peace and happiness. If without a proper intellect and mind, we may have all that which we are aspiring for, what will we not have? Peace and happiness. You know the famous dialogue, Gadi, Bangla. You know the dialogue? You have heard it? I don't know. Is it from the movie Diwar? Yes. Dhiyo yo na prachodayat. And then the hero is asked, तुम्हारे पास क्या है? What do you have? You may have all the luxuries or all that which you had aimed for, but if the mind and intellect are not straight, what happens? We will have all that, but we will not have peace and happiness. Na sat tat padam apnoti, and then what happens? Samsaram cha adhigacchati. We become bound by our own tendencies, patterns, habits. Samsaram cha adhigacchati. What does samsara mean? Samyak sarati. Constantly there is a movement, constantly there is a search, you are seeking. Have everything but still keep searching. There are many people who say, Swamiji, you know, people who have everything, I don't think they have followed the righteous methods, and now we are following righteous methods, we don't have anything. What they don't have is peace and happiness. I have been to many wealthy houses, okay, here as well as in India. At least this was the observation that I made back in India. You know, the house has all kinds of luxuries, comforts, food, everything. Do you know who gets to eat the best of the fruits, best of the food, best of the nuts? The servants. And what do the owners and the masters of that house eat? Breakfast time, handful of medicines. Lunch time, handful of medicines. Dinner time, handful of medicines. When they have age, when they have resources, when they have enough stamina, they spend all that in earning. After having earned, spend all that they have earned in maintaining the health which they have lost earning it. This vicious cycle is called samsara. In fact, what should we be teaching to our next generation? Aim for that peace and happiness, Baba. Been there, done that. With all your intensities for various talents that you have, nourish and flourish with that talent so that you can get that peace and happiness. And it's not easy. It is going to take that effort to bring in that clarity in that intellect and disciplining that mind, bringing these organs of perception, action in control. Without them being in control, everything goes haywire. In contrast to this, before going to the contrast, this Shruti, this mantra was given to the rishis of the past, who by very basic nature they were very sattvic, and still this mantra was found important to be given in those days. Meaning they did not have double standards in life, they were very sattvic people outright. Now imagine our messed up priorities, our messed up righteousness, definitions for it. It's okay to lie in profession, it's okay not to do this, it's okay to do, not okay to, we have created our own web. Not anywhere straightforward. And then people tell me, Swamiji, who will survive being straightforward in this world? It's very difficult. I would want my child to learn the ways of life. Baba, that is not ways of life. That is called Ashuchi. When this was so important even in those days when they were sattvic, how much more it is important in these days to straighten our methods. Without straightening these methods, what do we jump on? We jump on different processes. Have we corrected the main problem? We don't correct the main problem. The main issue is not looked into. But instead what do? We run to different various organizations, platforms and processes. Anybody offering meditation, anybody offering some energy technique, pranic technique, this technique, that technique, we will do everything. Puja here, japa there, dana here, everything will be done. At the end of it, Swamiji, I tried it all, None of these methods work. How will they work? They will work only when the basic idea, the basic problem is seen and the basic problem is corrected. Then it will help you reach to that peace and happiness. Without correcting that, just pushing it under the rug, it will not help us reach. A simple example, and then we will move forward to the next mantra. Let me ask you these two questions. You step into your house and you find something stinking. What should you do? Should we find the source of that stench, whether it is a trash bag or trash or whatever is stinking, tie it out properly and dump it in your dumpster, right? But instead you pull out all kinds of Glade and whatever is there in the market, aromatherapy, and then you pump it all around the place. Would that really be a solution? That is exactly what this mantra is trying to talk about. Find what is it that is causing these impurities. Attack it at that root level. Then these various processes will enhance the process to reach to that peace and happiness. Without having catered to that, it will not help us move forward. Therefore, continuing to the next mantra, Yamaraj says, Yastu vijnanavan bhavati samanaskas sada shuchihi satu tatpadamapnoti yasmad bhuyo na jayate. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati. the one who has taken enough effort to nourish that intellect to clarity. Samanaskaha has known how to handle the likes and dislikes pattern at the level of the mind, has given enough importance to the world of responsibilities, duties and obligations. Hence, therefore, their methods are straightforward. There is no crookedness involved at the intellect or at the mind or at the organs of perception action level, and this is called Trikarana Shuddhi. Trikarana Shuddhi, when your thought, word and deed, meaning what you think, what you say and what you do, are in one alignment. Usually it is like that only. Think about it. Dinner time, and they said, come eat. You think, the same food again, nothing interesting, and you say, this is what is at the thought level. Speech level, they say, I am not hungry. And then you come and sit and then you taste for just some sample. It was really good. And then after eating, they say, आज भी ज़्यादा खा लिया. Today also I think I overate. It's almost everyday story. With every aspect of life, we think one thing, say one thing and do entirely different. And then when we are caught with the discrepancy, we have justified every single step. I thought like that because, I said like that because, I did like that because. The faster we can churn these various reasonings, we think we are smart. That is not smartness in display. That is creating a trap for ourselves. But how are these people? Their intellects are sharp and bright, shining forth with clarity. Their minds have transcended likes and dislikes. Hence, therefore, their actions depict that crispness, that beauty in action. They are straightforward. Shuchihi. And such person will definitely attain sahatu tatpadam apnoti, will definitely attain that which everyone is seeking, which is peace and happiness. See, don't we know that when we go to certain people, friends, family, well-wishers, in certain people's presence, we feel really peaceful, we feel really quiet. Sometimes rare, but sometimes we also feel happy. Not just peaceful, but we also feel happy. But there are certain people, the moment they step in, your mind is like, ab kya hoga? Arey, this fellow came in again, what? And then you are on the edge, sitting, I don't know what will happen next, I don't know which direction this whole thing will go, I don't know. You are always on that edge. We experience that with people around. If we have not trained ourselves, don't you think the others around us will also be able to see it with us? And then he says, Yasmat bhuyo na jayate. Having reached that, there is no more coming back into this transcendental world of materialistic endeavors, because you have gone beyond all limitations. Now, what is the key? The key is in your own hands. It's our own mind and intellect. Are they trained? Are they disciplined? Are they yoked in the right direction? And if these are not trained, disciplined and nourished to that clarity, whatever effort that we are putting out of fear, do you think it will take us anywhere? It is just a mere waste of time, mere waste of effort. So, here in conclusion with that whole example, he says, Vijnana sarathir yastu manah pragrahavan naraha sodhvanah paramapnoti tadvishnoh paramam padam. Here there is a word of caution too. When we deal with ourselves, deal with the head. When we deal with the world outside, deal with your heart. Presently, how do we do? When we deal with the world outside, we deal it with a steel rod. We expect perfection, we expect discipline, we expect even a thief, even somebody who is a thug expects loyalty from his own people. As a bunch of thugs, what are you doing? Some crooked stuff out there. But within the group, they require the trustworthiness. We expect lot of things from the world outside. We expect that strictness in every aspect. How do we want the world to look at us? Bechara, poor fellow. Please, that tender love and care. Always handle with care. Shift the gear. Deal with yourself with that firmness, and deal with the world outside with that tender love and care. So, in that being strict with yourself, Vijnana sarathir yastu. Rush to give that nourishment to the intellect, so that it can make right decisions every single time. Give that subtlety to that intellect. And what is the method to get that subtlety? There is only one method. Shravanam. Shravanam, constant participation in satsanga and listening to these subtle, beautiful aspects. So, there was this kid grown up here asking his dad, Dad, how many times will you listen to the same Bhagavad Gita again and again? Haven't you learned what the Bhagavad Gita had to teach? I think I heard it once, I am done. It doesn't work that way. The same Bhagavad Gita when you are, the same scripture when you are going through again and again, that one day when something will click. The same thing when you start reading in a different time frame or a different mindset, something else will click. And even today when I am reading through this Kathopanishad, maybe my 20th time, some brilliant point comes, and as that new thought comes, I am also amazed. Areva, I feel like announcing, watch out, a new thought is coming, a fresh thought is coming. So take that intellect to this constant satsanga, let that shravana happen. And then manaha pragrahavan naraha. Be mercilessly disciplinary with our own mind. No leeway or scope given to any likes or dislikes. I am doing what I am doing because I am supposed to be doing it. Not because I am liking to do it, not because I am not liking to do it. Why are you doing it? It's my responsibility. It's my duty. I don't like my life. It's a stupid statement to make. If you don't like it, you are the only one who can change it. But you don't have the authority to refuse it. You can bring in the change slowly, but you cannot refuse the entire life. Why? I don't like it. It's like you go to the restaurant, you order something, and then when it finally comes, you say, I don't like it. Too bad, you ordered it, now eat it. Yeah, I would accept it as something thrusted on you if somebody else had ordered it. Who ordered this style of life for ourselves? Bhagavan did not do anything. It is us who have done what we have done to our life. You are in a sad state, bad state, ugly state, too bad. You created it for yourself. So who can change it? I alone can change my own life. Manah pragrahavan naraha saha advanaha param apnoti. Such person alone can see the end of the journey. Advanaha, journey. So never ever make the statement, happiness is in the journey, not in the destination. Stupid statement. इसका मतलब ही नहीं बनता है. Scriptures are very clearly saying, Saha advanaha param apnoti, you will reach. It is a destination that you can bask in, relish. So there is a destination, you can reach it. Yes, while you are putting the effort to that, what is the destination? Happiness. So your journey towards happiness, should it be looking frustrating or should it look happy? This is psychological study, okay. The students were photographed while they were entering into the school. And the same student, after the entire day's effort, were photographed while they were going back home. Do you know what does the study say? That they looked happier when they go home, in spite of the tiring day. When you know the place that you are getting to will give you that peace, security, contentment, everything, you will be happy going there. And there are these people who would say that they are putting all this sadhana to be happy. But then come and say, Swami ji, आपके class में seriousness नहीं है. In your class, you know, there is no seriousness. There are too many jokes. But the whole class meant to take you to that happiness. Why should that journey be, serious? So why? You have to be serious in your sadhana. So, please control your mind, intellect. With the straightforwardness of your mind and intellect, you can control the organs of perception and action. ये होता नहीं है. See, if the ultimate goal is happiness, why should the entire journey be with such, dukhi? There are devotees. They seldom, they refuse to put a smile on their face. They'll stand in front of the Lord, oh Bhagwan. That's why I hate certain songs. मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे आऊं तेरे द्वार. धोखे आना, धोखेबाज. If it is my luck, धोखे आओ, wash it and then wear it and something fresh. मैं दुखी, मैं Bhagwan says, this position. Stop, I know it. You are dukhi, I know it. Don't make me also dukhi. Even for the bhakta, show me one God who has a tear in his face. Aren't they always smiling? And you being a bhakta, having that kind of God as your ideal, what is wrong with you? Why do you have to cry? Why do you have to look that serious and ekdam phule hule? I'm a sadhak. Put a smile on your face. See, the entire process is to reach to that happiness. So make that journey also that blissful. Well, we make it look like such blisterful that nobody wants to attempt that path towards happiness. If that person is doing this sadhana for happiness, I am happy not doing that sadhana. And this is Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam. And that is the highest abode of Narayana. Narayana, Narasya Ayanam, the abode of knowledge. From here on, the beautiful aspect of sequential analysis. Now, the logic is given, the pros and cons are discussed. Now, how do we progress from where we are? Such a beautiful logical sadhana. After listening to the entire the Upanishad full of sadhana, people come and say, give us a, what is it? Pointers to go home. अब तक क्या बक रहा था मैं? What is your go home message? Go home. What else can I say? People get these cliches, I don't know, they sometimes get irritated. Swamiji, you spoke about the entire Upanishad. What is the sadhana? Batata hu main. See how sequentially he has taken. He has given a beautiful example. After the example is given, he has shown as to how the similes match, how a good condition works and what are the benefits, what is the bad condition explained and what are the repercussions of it. Now, where are we? How do we know where we are and how do we transcend each step and what are those steps? That is taken for discussion. We still have 10 minutes, so we can look into one more mantra. Indriyebhyah para hyartha अर्थेभ्यश्च परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः बुद्धेरात्मा महान् परः. So here they are starting from the grossest and moving to the subtler steps. And the first sentence in a typical Indian language is a bouncer, is a curve ball. And what is a curve ball here? It says, Indriyebhyaha parahyartha, subtler than the organs of perception are the sense objects. So we like wonder, how is it possible? How is it possible that the sense organs are grosser than the sense objects? A simple example will make the case clear. If there is somebody named Maharaja Veer Pratap Singh, that is the name, but does not have kingdom, does having that name Maharaja Veer Pratap Singh sound justified? Which is the case with many of our Indian titles that we have. If you have by chance those names, sorry on picking on you. Chaturvedi. What does Chaturvedi mean? There's somebody who is an exponent, an expert in all four Vedas, hence therefore Chaturvedi. Trivedi, exponent in three Vedas. Dvivedi, exponent in two Vedas. In today's world, it is just a word. It does not have a meaning to it because they don't know what are those four Vedas. Ask them the four Vedas, they will end up telling Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda and Ayurveda. Or even if they say Atharva Veda, and I end up putting a very straight face and I say, is it Atharva Veda or Ayurveda? I think it is Ayurveda. अब स्वामी जी पूछ रहा है तो he must have been right, so maybe it is Ayurveda only. Will the sense organs mean anything if there are no sense objects? Will the eye be recognized as an eye if the eye doesn't have any forms to look at? Have you ever been to a dark room where they do the photographic processing? I am not talking about the printing, the pre-printing dark room. It's really dark. Many of these dark places, you close your eyes and open, your eyes get acclimatized to that new environment. But the dark room, there is no light at all. It's pitch dark. There, Do the eyes, do they have their field? The eyes have a meaning only when it has a field of its objects. The ear has a meaning only when there is sound. The tongue has a meaning when there is taste. The nose has a meaning when it has glasses sitting on it. No, the nose has a meaning when it can have the field of smell. Without these individual sense objects, the sense organs are worthless. Hence, therefore, here Shankaracharya comes to our rescue and he says that the sense objects are subtler than the sense organs. Subtler than the sense organs, the sense objects, arthebhyascha param manaha. Subtler than the sense objects is the mind. Subtler than the mind is the buddhi. Subtler than the buddhi is called the great unmanifest, Mahan Paraha. That Mahan can be interpreted as unmanifest. But how is it that the mind is subtler than the sense objects? How is the intellect subtler than the mind? And how is the unmanifest subtler than the intellect? That we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shant Shant Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.